Does your dog feel like a partner or more like a project that you're constantly trying to fix? Because if you're always correcting, managing, and trying to control behavior, this might be exactly why things feel so hard. And in this episode today, we're going to talk about the difference between living with a dog and managing a dog, and how if we do a little shift, it might just change everything. Let's get into it.
Ready to have a calm and peaceful life with your dog without the stress of those fear-based behaviors? Hi, I'm Tracy, and I've been there, overwhelmed by all the conflicting dog training advice and unsure of what to do next. But now I help dog lovers like you simplify your life with your dog by building confidence naturally, fostering trust, and addressing those fear-based challenges. So, if you're ready, stop chopping those chicken wieners and let's get to it.
Hey there, friend. If you're looking for more support and you want to work with me more closely, I do have options for you. You can join my Fearless Framework online 12-month program where we dive deep into building trust and confidence with your dog. And if you're someone who wants even more personalized support, I also offer one-on-one coaching calls. I'm going to drop all those details for you in the show notes, and you can check it out when you're ready. I'll see you there. Well, hello, my dog-loving friend. It is Tracy. Welcome to Beyond Obedience, the podcast. Super duper welcome. If you are brand new, yes, friend. I'm so glad that you are here with us today. Like she looks around the empty room. Okay, I'm just glad you're here with me. Be my friend. If this is your first time here at Beyond Obedience, welcome. This is a podcast that talks about all things beyond obedience. This idea that obedience is just, like a part. It's a part of living with a dog. And it's not the whole part, In fact, it's, in my case, not really even a part. But it's not an anti-training program. It's just let's look at things a little bit above and beyond. Recently I just finished up the monthly coaching call for the students in the Fearless Framework. What a call. Oh my goodness. Anyway, finished that call up, and there was a big theme that came up. I might have stood on a soapbox for a little bit. But the reason for it, and the reason why I'm so passionate about reaching more and more people, is not to, try to convince anybody of my ways, like adopt my ways. It's my way or the highway. But in fact, the absolute opposite. It's the actual opposite of that. I do truly believe that the training industry is failing us. They're failing us. They are so busy fighting about what is right and what is wrong. And they've forgotten, I think, the main thing. Two main things they've forgotten. One, they've forgotten about you. They've forgotten about the person at the end of the leash. The one that is desperately trying to do all the right things. The one that loves their dog so much that they would never in a million years want to do anything to harm their dog. And yet, they are submerged in a culture that makes them feel less than. And if there's one thing that I try to let everyone know that comes into at least my ecosphere, is that a thing that you say? I don't know. When you come into my little bubble of a world, the thing I want you to know is that you are enough. That you're enough. You're enough for your dog, and you are everything to your dog. And the mistakes that we make, and we all make them, myself included, the mistakes that we made are often forgiven by the dog, but not forgiven by society or your own guilty conscience. So my goal here is to help at least kind of relieve some of that guilt and that shame, to kind of shine a light on a very, very toxic culture, and maybe allow a safe place for people to hang out, to hopefully feel seen, hopefully feel heard, and to feel better. That's kind of the goal. The other part of this that I think the dog training community has forgotten about is we have really forgotten to ask the dog. Like we're so busy arguing with one another. I don't think anybody's even thought to ask the dog. And I think that is a missed opportunity. So here at Beyond Obedience, we're trying to stir up some awareness. Again, my stuff here isn't telling you what you should or shouldn't do. It's telling you to, listen to your dog, trust your gut, know that you have all the best intentions. You're not doing anything that, that you think would intentionally harm your dog, no matter what other trainers will try to tell you. So that's the purpose of this show. Today, though, I wanted to talk about this idea of, when life with our dog starts to feel hard. One of the concepts I think that happens is that we start to look at our dog more like a project, a thing that needs to be fixed. Right? When you can't ever feel like you can relax around your own dog because you got to constantly be scanning and searching, or you're constantly watching, correcting, managing. You're always thinking about what they might do next, and then what should you do about what they might do next. That's what it feels like to live with a project. Right? And that's no fun. That's no fun. It's not fun for you. It's also not fun for the dog. I'll tell you that. I will say this. This is just going to come up because Paisley and I were watching TV last night. We were having our girls' night, snacks and lattes in the bed. And because that's what you do. That's what you do when you're having a girls' night. Anyway, we're watching reruns. We are watching old episodes of Bones. Do you remember the show Bones? We've been watching that. Anyway, the show that came up for us, one of the shows, like we only watched one show. We were binge watching Bones, I'm not going to lie. But the one episode that came up was the one with the dog fighting ring. And so gut-wrenching, gut-wrenching. But one of the things that really stuck out to me during that show was the number of times that they talked about dogs being trained to listen to their master. And every time they said it, I kind of had this little quiver kind of thing. Like, I didn't like the word. I didn't like the concept of it. And then of course, all the dogs that were there were obviously trained, but, it was one of those things where it kind of sort of took me back a little bit, because if I'm being honest, if I can be a little bit honest, I've never liked the word training, which sounds weird, but I didn't. I was I don't feel like I want to train my dog to obey me. The words around it always felt a little uncomfortable for me. And I think a lot of it has to do with my quirky little introverted, shy childhood upbringing. I was a very, very shy little girl that hung out with two German Shepherds. They were my best friends in the whole wide world. And I never really trained them. I didn't really train these dogs. They just hung out with me, and I go on these grand adventures with them, and they were everything. And that's kind of how I grew up. So training to me sort of always kind of, innately just sort of rubbed me the wrong way. Now, again, this isn't an anti-training podcast. Okay. She says, as she continues to talk about training. But the thing was, the words rubbed me the wrong way, because when I hear training, it sounds very one-sided to me. It feels like a do as I say. And as as someone who kind of grew up in that era, the do as I say era, there's just something about it. And the funny thing is, as I say, that's just not how I see dogs, right? When I look back at the history of dogs, if you kind of take a journey back to how this whole crazy relationship with dogs started, what we actually did was we weren't really training these dogs. We were partnering with these dogs. We needed them just as much as they needed us, right? We needed them for protection or for herding or for hunting or for tracking. And we were better together. It wasn't really about one controlling the other. It was like a genuine partnership. It was a genuine relationship, right? And now today, it seems like the word training to me sounds like we've lost the idea of what that meant, right? Somewhere along the way, we've lost that. We started focusing so much on training and obedience and on behavior that we forgot about the relationship underneath of it, right? And then what happens is when we have dogs that, and I would like to say like dogs that are in situations where maybe the communication wasn't clear, or maybe the boundaries weren't that clear, or maybe people didn't really know what they were signing up for and they didn't really understand the dog, or whatever the situation is, and the dogs became a quote unquote problem, then the dogs became a project, right? Something that we were fixing, something that we had to correct, something that we had to manage. We were constantly focusing on all the things that were wrong. And when your dog becomes something that you're trying to fix, instead of something that you want to live with, it changes. It just dissolves the relationship piece between the two of you. And the impact of that is you're exhausted, right? It's exhausting to constantly be micromanaging, to constantly be working on your dog. It's frustrating. You can't ever relax. You always have to be on. And here's the thing, the dog feels that too. The dog picks up on that exact same thing. They can't relax. They feel like they're always on because you carry around this tension on you. So does the dog. The dog is like, why are you so tense? Now I have to be tense. Now I have to be looking. And meanwhile, you're both looking at each other, but nobody's really getting that true depth of understanding. So what if we stopped for a second and we took a break from management? And what if we looked at your dog not as a project, but instead as a partner? Because what would a partner mode look like? Same dog, same quote unquote behavior, quote unquote issues, but now we're going to switch how we look at them. Because maybe then we're going to get curiosity over correction. We're going to get awareness over control. We're going to start listening instead of immediately reacting. I know I told you the story just recently about how, Gunther had that moment where he was quote unquote misbehaving because I asked him to come inside and he stopped and he didn't come in. And I was luckily stopped myself long enough to realize that he still had to go poop. Right? That moment there, that's partnership, that's trust, that's letting you know, okay, you know what, I trust you, so let's see how this plays out. Right? Because we're not trying to always fix the dog, but instead try to understand them. Now, I want to be clear, when we talk about partnership, that doesn't mean being passive, right? I'm not saying like, all right, let him do whatever he wants and see what happens. That's not what I'm saying. There's still going to be some leadership. There's still going to be boundaries. There's still going to be safety. And there's still going to be guidance, but we're going to do it in a way that's calm and fair and predictable and clear, right? We're going to embrace all of that leadership quality. But I think in being a partner allows us to sort of see them differently, to move with them, to try with them, to when to me, it looks like the difference of this. Like, when we're doing obedience with the dog and we're asking them to follow us and move with us and all of that stuff, based on a command, like I asked you to do this, so do this. But when we become a partner, we start actually doing more stuff like we're showing. In particular, like this is what I'm thinking about, because I was watching, some pretty, it was impressive. It was impressive obedience, not gonna lie. Getting the dogs to, go over things and turn around and heel and all the things. And I was like, you could also step over the thing that you're asking them to do. You could also go first. Like sometimes leadership actually means go first, right? Can you follow me? Can you actually follow me? Because I'm fun. Because you want to follow me. Like sometimes it's hard to explain, especially if you've been in project mode for so long. It's hard to kind of let go of that. But here's the thing about trust. Trust has to go both ways, right? Trust has to go both ways. Trust has to be like, I trust you to make a mistake, right? Like I trust you not to make a mistake. I trust you that if you make a mistake, I'm here to like help guide you through it. But I also trust you enough to at least give you the chance to make the mistake. And honest to gosh, I swear, you will find more times than not, your dog will surprise you. It's just we haven't let go of that control long enough to let them surprise us. So we stay in this constant micromanagement mode forever, right? So instead of like always asking, how do I fix this behavior? What about asking, like, what is my dog trying to tell me right now? I think some of the times that's the biggest clarity that people get when they come and they have a chance to sort of step out of the training spotlight, and they just, I give them permission to be like, what if this, So I think some of the times people kind of step out of that and they're like, I never even thought to ask the dog. I never even thought to ask the dog, especially honestly, in today's society, we're constantly being told about excuse me, a happy dog is a tired dog, and constantly doing and managing and correcting. What was it that I saw just this morning that made me go, ugh, maybe not? Oh, I know what it was. It was a trainer talking about door etiquette and basically correcting the dog for having that energy to go at the door when the doorbell rings. And my first thought was, sure, you could correct them for that, or you could just show them what you want. Like doesn't that sound simple? Like, it sounds so simple, and it is. Oh, sorry about that. Had to get a drink. A little convent. It sounds so simple. When I say it, people are like, what? But it actually is that simple. Like I sat there watching, this trainer, and no shade, because we're all just taught the same thing. But I sat there watching this trainer telling these people to like correct this dog for having this, intense energy at the door. And I'm like, or you could show them. You could just show the dog. Because okay. Oh, I'm going to stand on a soapbox. Oh, I hate when I do this, but I'm doing it. Here, you can't stop me now. It's already happening. Here's the thing. When we stop and we take a look at it from the dog's perspective, especially when it comes to your den, your home, your house, your property, all of that stuff, right? The dog, I'm laughing because the dog is doing what we want them to do, right? Innately, we want the dog to bark at the door. We want the dog to bark at the things, right? We just want the dog to read our minds, to know, I only want you to bark at the things that are actual threats. But then we don't actually take the time to show the dog what we think are threats and what we don't think are threats. We just think innately dogs should know. You know, man in a black mask that breaks into your house, threat. The postal service people that come with the bag of mail, not a threat. Like, we're supposed to just, like, we assume that dogs just get it, like, innately. They should just know, bad guy energy. Like, but they don't. They really don't. And then we don't show them. We don't show them what we want. We don't tell them the things that we want. Most of us don't even take the time to show the dog our property lines, like walk the perimeter and say, this is the stuff I care about. This is the stuff I don't care about. We don't show them anything. We just expect them to know. And then when that job that we give them no boundaries on, we give them no direction, nothing, when that dog takes that job and they're like, I'm going to do this to the fullest of my abilities, right? Then we get upset with them and we correct them and we go, no, don't. And in this particular case, this was a correction with, with training gear. And I don't want to get into it because I don't want to make it this about equipment. But the point is that, when I see these things and I watch these little, clips of how to train and how to do these things, quite often in my head, I'm like, I don't know, you could probably just like let the dog know what you actually want by showing them. Like, partner up with your dog and show them what you want. Just show them, live an incredible life of partnership with them. And I'm telling you, it's so much easier because once you start listening to the dog, once you start literally observing and listening and actually treating them like a partner, it becomes easy to just say yes or no to a dog. Really, really simple. It really becomes that simple. Now, don't get me wrong. If you've adopted a dog that has some baggage, that's going to take some time. But that's where you got to get into the three-step trust system, right? You have to get into that 3-step trust system that I talk all about inside the Fearless Framework, right? You don't want to rush steps. You can't make assumptions. You got to work through the steps in the program, and then you'll start to see that trust builds, and then life gets easier, and it becomes just a yes or a no. And it's simple. I don't even know what I was talking about anymore. I got to get off this soapbox. Soapbox is so high, I might fall off of it. Ow! Slap myself off that soapbox. All right, enough of that. What was I talking about? What was this podcast even about? All right, let's bring it home. Even if your dog is struggling, they're reactive, they're fearful, they're not listening. What if instead of trying to fix them, we partnered with them to help them get through it? We went through it with them. What if that was a thing? Because the moment you stop managing your dog like a project and start showing up like a partner, your dog stops feeling like it's something to fix and starts feeling like someone to trust. And when your dog feels like a partner, everything changes. Remember that pro-sociality idea. Put it on a Post-it, stick it on your bathroom window or your dog crate or whatever. Just say, we're better together. We are better together. This walk is better because I'm here. This game of fetch is better because I'm here. This existence is better because you're here. We're better together. And the moment you start doing that, everything else gets easier. You'll be amazed how your dog shows up for you. You'll be amazed how your dog shows up for you when you start showing up for your dog. All right, friend. I think that's it. I don't know where this episode went, but that's where it landed. This is how most of the episodes, if you're brand new, this is how most of my episodes go here at Beyond Obedience. We just start with something, I get off on a tangent, and we end up someplace else, but hopefully it all makes sense to you. Listen, if you like this sort of thing, can you do me a favor? Head on over to Apple and leave me a 5-star written review. Helps to push this podcast out to more and more people. Share it with a friend. Follow me on Spotify. Do all the things to help support this podcast. It really means the world to me. And as always, my dog-loving friend, get out there today and be the person that your dog thinks you are, because your dog thinks that you are amazing. And so do I. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now. Oh, and one more thing. This podcast is meant for entertainment and education purposes only. It's not meant to replace hands-on professional training. If you're really struggling with your dog, please reach out to a professional in your area. All right, I think that's it. Bye for now.